Hi folks, this is Chef Tom from Palmer's Direct-to-You Market. Today we're cooking with confidence and using dry sea scallops. A lot of people buy dry sea scallops for the holidays. It's a wonderful dish to eat, and some people don't have the confidence to prepare them. I'm going to show you how to do it very easily. First, we're going to look at our dry sea scallops. A couple things I want to mention. Because the fact that they're dry, that means they have no preservatives added to them, and usually the best product to purchase. They're always fresh, they always have a nice translucent color, and they've never been frozen or had any salt or preservatives. These here are a reasonably sized scallop, and one thing I want to mention is that sometimes scallops have this little connector and it needs to be peeled off. So if you take the time to go through, peel these off and just discard that, you'll probably be better off in the future. We're going to do a simple dish today just to present at your holiday table. It's our dry sea scallops. We have some Himalayan sea salt here, or some Himalayan salt. We're going to just sprinkle it on here just to get a little bit of flavor going on. Okay, very nice flavor. A couple other ingredients we have to work with include some Peruvian sweetie drop peppers, very lovely item. We've got some capers, a little bit of roasted garlic that I went ahead and roasted off beforehand, some butter, and then of course something that goes very well with scallops is some cooked bacon and a nice sliced piece of polenta, which is a really unique item to serve as well. So we're going to create a great little dish here, and we're going to use the process of pan searing. So a couple things I want to mention about pan searing. Number one is that it should always be done in a very, very hot pan. So you certainly want to make sure your pan is good and hot. I like to put mine onto the stovetop and let it heat up for about 2 or 3 minutes just to make sure it's got that great temperature. The one thing we don't want to see happen in a pan when we're searing scallops is the condensation develops, and that usually happens because the scallops are cold and contain moisture. And when they get put into a warm pan, well, that moisture tends to seep out and then it sort of steams the scallops. We want a very hot pan so it actually sears the bottom of that scallop and creates a nice, beautiful golden brown crust. One side is best to sear. You can sear the other side, okay, but typically you're going to see one side when you serve it, so we're going to concentrate on that one side and make sure it's cooked all the way through, briefly on the second side. So, we choose our oil. We've got a couple oils to choose from in our pantry these days. Olive oil is typically everybody's choice to cook with, and I agree with that. However, it tends to burn rather easily in the presence of high heat. So, I typically use a lighter, cleaner, more durable oil. Typically canola or vegetable will work just fine. So we're going to take our canola oil over to the range top along with our ingredients, and we're going to do a quick pan sear. So I've got my flame nice and high, okay? I want to make sure that pan is good and hot. And we're going to add a little bit of that canola oil just to the pan. Swirl it around a bit, okay? Make sure that's going okay. Then we come over with our scallops and just real carefully set them in there so they're not touching one another. Lots of room in there. If you need to do these in batches or with multiple pans, that's your best bet. But you never want to crowd the pan because they will definitely start to condensate. Okay, while our scallops are pan searing, we're going to take the time to heat up the other pan briefly as well. Put a little bit more of that vegetable or canola oil into the pan, swirl that around just like we did before, and put a nice little characteristic sear on our polenta. These slices are made in a loaf. You can make it from scratch or you can purchase a simple polenta cake. It comes available at Palmer's Direct-to-You Market or in your supermarket. It's a terrific item to have. Okay, while our polenta is searing our scallops, you'll start to see a couple things happening here, which is a really good sign. You'll see that it starts to get a little bit opaque on the outside edge and a little bit of brown crust happening. We don't want to move the scallops or turn them or toss them or anything until they've had a chance to completely cook all the way on the one side. You'll start to see it begins to get opaque as it creeps up the side of that scallop. That's a good indication that the heat is permeating the muscle, it's cooking it appropriately, and putting that beautiful caramelized crust on the other side. The polenta, on the other hand, tends to move a little bit quicker, so we're going to take a spatula real quickly and just carefully turn those over. Get a nice little crusty side on that as well. Nice golden color. That's going to be the base of our dish, so these can just continue to cook. So as you can see, that brown crust, we'll just take a quick little peek on the other side. You see how that's starting to crust up real nicely. We're going to carefully turn these over one by one, allow it to finish cooking on the other side. And then I like to add a couple of additional items to the pan in order to make it that dish that we talked about. Okay. First I put in some capers. I think capers are a terrific item. They add a nice bright flavor, a little bite to it. These are sweetie drop peppers. This is the Peruvian sweetie drop. It's a terrific shape. It's got a lovely color, perfect for the holiday table, and a terrific sweet flavor. A little bit of that roasted garlic, like I said. You can use regular whole garlic if you want, unroasted, but the garlic that's been roasted really brings out a very mild and sweet flavor of garlic. It's very, very nice. As you can see, a little smoke is developing. That being said, we probably want to cut back the heat just a little bit to make sure that we don't burn our scallops through. At the very end, you can tell right away just by looking at the scallops, we got that nice brown crust on both sides. It's a beautiful, soft, tender scallop. It's always better to be slightly under than it is to be slightly over because the scallop will dry out. That being said, we'll finish our pan quite simply by turning off the flame. We don't want to add additional heat when we add the butter at the very end. This is just regular whole butter. Okay, that's going to stir around and create that nice, luscious sauce that we like. Move these products around. A little swirl. Just loosen up. There we go. That looks good enough to eat. We're going to turn our polenta cakes off and remove both pans over to the counter to plate. You can see our polenta chips here have a beautiful golden brown color to them. They're cooked all the way through, and they make a terrific base for our appetizer or first entree course. Right on the plate, 1, 2, 3, just like that. Okay, and then, of course, everyone's favorite with scallops, typically wrapped in bacon. I roasted the bacon off. I'm just gonna put a little bit of bacon on top for a little treat. We'll switch pans. We'll come back over to our nice, beautifully seared scallop. We'll place one of these on top of each piece. We'll save a couple extra for the next plate. And then lastly, our butter sauce over here with the capers and the sweetie drop peppers and the roasted garlic goes right over the top and creates a terrific looking dish. Okay, and as always, you always want to garnish your plate. And that being said, I typically use just a little bit of fresh chopped parsley. I chopped a little bit up just to add around the edges to make it look holiday and festive, and then just a quick, simple bouquet right on top of each one, just to shout it out. There you go. Bacon and polenta, top seared scallops from Palmer's Direct-to-You Market. You have the confidence to cook. We sure hope you join us, and we'll show you more next time. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.